Right, far away.
Michael, is that one of the more disappointing matches you've ever been involved in your career as a player and a coach?
No, it was pretty disappointing. Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was to be in the position that we were in early in the match and to sort of, I guess, give up that lead and that position was, couldn't be more disappointed. As the game went, you could sort of see, clearly Richmond were gathering more energy. And as a stay in that fight when things aren't working for you, and we just weren't prepared to stay in that fight. And through error, through inefficiency, they were able to, I guess, claw their way back through probably increasing their pressure and capitalising on our mistakes and being a little bit inefficient when we went inside 50. So, so that was really disappointing. But the momentum of the game was certainly against us towards the second half. But what is it? 9-2 in the second half. It just shouldn't have happened that way.
Richmond's widely tipped to be, I guess, the wooden spoon this year. Did the players take them lightly at all, like once they got into that big lead?
Gee, I'd really hope not.
Yeah.
I'd really hope not, because humility has been a significant thing for us. It may be talked about externally, but there's never a comment about where an opposition team are, other than it's round one, it's the start of the season. Everyone's got hope, everyone believes they're a chance, and you roll into round one and anything can happen. And we also, the history of these games, Carlton versus Richmond round one, they're close. So no matter wherever people have proposed that or estimated where the teams have been and how they've projected to be at the end of the season, the reality is that these games have been close. And I would hope that wasn't the case. I really would.
Having said that, reaction to such as, given it was a surprise to all the clubs, would be huge. How do you manage that with the outside?
Oh, keep it in context. That's what we have to do. The context is we're round one. There's been a pre-season of change and trying to get better and acknowledging we're not where we are. So we've tried to put things in place to help us with that, but the reality is that we weren't able to execute it for long enough. And we didn't stay present to the moment. And, credit to Richmond, they kept bringing the energy and they kept bringing the fight. And that's, I guess, the challenge back to our playing group is that, we've got to stay in the fight as well. I think in the second quarter they kicked their 2 goals one was from centre square bounce where we fumbled the ball and went forward. They kick a goal in the goal square. It's a forward defensive 50 stoppage and, they scrub the ball out and it finds its way to the goal line. It was really the only two goals they kicked in the first half, but it was a different team walking out after half time, that's for sure. The fundamentals are crucial in this game. Falling over, keeping your feet, being clean around the ball. Relevant 100 years ago, it'd be relevant another 100 years. And we just weren't that. So what we will do is we'll accept how this has played out. You don't tuck this one away. You've got to address it. So we'll spend time addressing it because it's the only way I know how that we actually get better and move forward from it. But at the same time, it's also about context, and it's about round one. So if this is this is a bad reminder about what's important to us, then we take the reminder, but we've got to do something about it.
Sam Doherty started as sub. Came on, had a huge impact in play. So, are you happy with that decision to start as sub, or should you play?
No, we take all the evidence in how players have had their pre-season and what form they've been in, and we're comfortable enough. We played the players that deserve their position in the team, and our continual evolution of the football team has been able to give opportunity when it's deserved. And so for Doc on this particular occasion, that doesn't mean it's going to be that moving forward. On this particular night, he's the sub. So from our perspective, there might be a constant discussion about who is sub, but the reality is someone's got to play it.
How'd you see Lucas Camporelli's debut? He had a pretty good start and pretty comfortable at it?
Yeah, he's picking up the tempo, and there'll be some things he knows he's going to have to go to work on. Clearly, that's obvious. He's not the finished product, but we really love what he's been able to do over the course of the pre-season, and really love what he's been able to do. And he's got incredible experience out there, being able to play round one against Richmond. The result's not how he wants it, but if that fuels the next level for him, then so be it. But he's a good kid, great character, and he's going to be a really long-term player for us, no doubt.
So you said you hoped that it wasn't the case that your boys took Richmond lightly. Is that something that you'll have to actually find out, maybe even ask the guys what the mentality was?
I think that's difficult in retrospect to ask them what necessarily their mindset is. Everyone sort of brings what we expect is a level of consistency in the way we show up, in the way we compete. And the reality is, for 4 quarters, we didn't show up for long enough. We didn't compete for long enough. And that shows up in different things. And the reality is it showed up in some of our errors today and some of the little things, the fundamentals that we need to be able to get right. And Richmond were able to dial it up a little bit. They brought the energy, and as a result, their second half was pretty impressive.
They scored a lot from the number of entries they had. How many concerns that in terms of the defensive?
Oh, well, they had 5 goals from defensive 50 turnovers. So it's hard to win from, if you're just giving goals back to the opposition like that. So we have to look at it. There's no doubt. It's a really obvious thing that showed itself across the game. It's a little bit of a surprise because we haven't seen that across anything that we've done so far, albeit pre-season games. But it shows you how different the actual season is, and it's going to show you how tight this competition is going to be across the year. So, but for us, it's about accepting what's happened, and we'll address what we need to, and then in a couple of days we'll move ourselves forward and get onto the Hawks.
Gregory was pretty dominant in the first half, but the rest of the back six looks a bit different this year. How'd you see the first goal of it tonight?
Oh, there's some good parts. But again, across every line, I thought we had some errors and some really simple ones. So some really simple things that we can get right. We feel like that there's a good combination there, but we also accept that their time together as a group is short. We are going to need some time together, and we feel like it's an important part of us being able to move forward and advance as a football team. And our ability to be able to vent for longer, and if the scoreboard's not ticking over, we'll live in the arm wrestle for a while, fight for a while. So that's not just on the defence, that's on our total team. They're able to kick over 80 points tonight, and we've got to do better than that. We have to do better than that, and we weren't good enough.
In a way, you can treat it as like it's a good, really early reminder just how tight the competition is, and you can't take things for granted. Like to have it happen so early in the season, in a way.
I didn't need it. I think the evidence is there from last year. It's not, it's a tight competition. Like I listened to every single coach across the competition. I listened to their best and fairest chats. I listened to their press conferences, and we all acknowledge that how tough the competition is. So what that demands is that we have a level of consistency in the way we play, and that doesn't exist for 45 minutes of a game. You're not going to control every game of every minute. You're just not going to do that. But that game was there to be won. We gave up the lead that we had, and we got what we deserved. So that's going to be hard to accept.
Michael, everyone trying to make tight sort of result scenarios. You certainly had your chances there late in the last quarter. How much was that still? Because you got close to the couple of times still.
It was just done. It was untidy, wasn't it? Like even though we were able to execute, we lost shots on goal. I don't know what the inside 50 was late in the game. Sorry, I don't have that right in front of me. So 19 inside 50s to 8 in the last quarter. We couldn't score. So and it was untidy. So we've got to do better. Yes, we do. Yeah.
Structurally, how different will that look when he doesn't turn?
I don't think it'll change too much. I don't think it'll change too much. But obviously, clearly, we're adding a pretty good player. So it'll help us. It'll help us aerially. One of the issues, I guess, was probably being a bit impatient with the ball in hand. It just didn't take it off the line enough. And, Richmond were able to sit and defend for long periods of the game. There's not many teams that can do that. Actually, we've got to say that they did very, very well. They were able to sit, they absorbed, they put the numbers back, they defended the scoreboard as best they could, they threw themselves at everything. And we just needed a little bit more composure, a little bit more clean plays. We needed to finish off our plays a little bit better. So, again, in these games, 1 or 2 matter. And we weren't able to generate the 1 or 2.
The decision to coach from the coach's box for the first 3 quarters and come out in the last quarter, can you talk us through that?
I'll do that more throughout this year, yeah. So I would have thought sort of probably most of the time I spend will be in the coach's box, and probably view of coming down late in games. It gives a chance to connect to the coaches, and then late in the game be able to connect to the players. So I thought it was a half reasonable balance tonight.
Any injury concerns?
No. So that's one thing out of the night, and hopefully we get a couple coming back next week for the Hawks.
Will you be happy with Jackson Rani's first game back?
It was. He's be able to get exposure back. We probably could have thrown him forward a little bit quicker in the last quarter. So we held there for a little bit longer, but sort of got 15 minutes of him forward, which we anticipate we'll probably do a little bit more of, whether it's him or whether it's Mitch. Even Hainsey at times can do that. So we've added that flexibility to his game, and early signs was he competed pretty strong. So, but like at most of these games, I think you sort of sit back and sort of deal with the loss a bit, and I think you need the vision to get the full story.
Who else are you hoping with Kerner perhaps next week?
Sorry.
Who else are you hoping?
Fantasia might be back, so he's the other one, but I've still got to see how they trained over the last 24 hours, because I don't know that yet. So.
Thanks, Bruce.
All right, thank you.